Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you're new. I do apologize. I've kind of taken a little bit of time to be uploading new videos because I have been very, very busy recently. I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. So yeah, I do apologize for not uploading once a week like I try to, but I am going to start trying to upload more. So, guys, there's a concept in Islam which I always found disturbing, and I want to talk about that today. And I want to talk about the wider implications of this hadith. But this is not just really a hadith, this is a mindset that permeates all of Islamic thought, Islamic teaching. I really would say it's at the heart of what it is to be a Muslim and to follow this religion. And this is a hadith. It was narrated by Anas ibn Malik, who said that the Prophet said, "None of you have faith until I am more beloved to him than his children, his father, and all of the people." And that is from Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, actually. It appears in two hadith collections. And if something is Sahih, that means it's sound. So the probability is, yes, this is something the Prophet probably did say. Now think about that hadith. Really deep it, as as the young people, as Gen Z like to say, and Gen Alpha. If you deep it, if you really think about that, what is that hadith telling you to do? It's telling you to love, and not just God, but the Prophet. Love him more than your own children and parents. How disturbing is that? Let's talk about love for your children, and family and anyone else, but specifically like your children and stuff. That is a love which is unbreakable usually. That's a bond which runs so deep, not just in humans, but in all mammals and all species that, are aware that they have children. You need to have, like, psychologically, loving your family and loving them more than anyone is a healthy thing that humans do, because family are part of your identity. Right? They become your motivation. They transform you as a person. And you look at them and you look at this little life and you say, I will do anything for you. And the love you have, it just comes naturally. It's not actually something you think about. It's something that comes naturally, and it really can't be put into words. It's a very powerful force, and it's a powerful force for a reason. Nature made it that way so that, we would want to love and take care of our children and keep them alive. I mean, children is the way genes are passed forward and, evolution and all that. But actually, I think it's more fundamental than that. I think it's just love. Love in itself is just a force. It's an energy. It's something beautiful. And it just is what it is. It's like experiencing anything else, when you see the color yellow or pink, you can't actually describe it in words. You can only experience things like colors, flavors, and love is one of those things. You have to you just know what it is, and it's just there, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful for a reason, because it is inexplainable. And as humans, we cherish that kind of those connections we have. So they can make or break you. I mean, I grew up without a lot of love, and it's made me who I am today. That kind of breaks a person psychologically, or leads you to have personality disorders a lot of the time, that extreme level of trauma, because humans need it. We all need it. Whatever form it comes in, love is what fundamentally enables us to survive, especially in our formative years. It's so important. Now, here we have a so-called prophet of God telling you that he is the one you should love above all, including your own parents and children. What do you think that does to people psychologically? Like, what do you think that is intending to do? And if you're someone who still believes in this faith, or you're questioning it, or you want to join, or you're just interested, or you've already left, really think about it, how disturbing that is. And if you're honest and you remove the cognitive dissonance and the, and the cope and just convincing yourself, think about it. This is basically almost a cult tactic. Because when you give up loving the people who mean the most to you for someone, well, in those days, they would have known him. But for us who are existing 1,400 years later, for someone you've never even met, basically just a figment of your imagination, an icon, an image in your mind, love that more than the real connections around you. What's that telling you to do? It's telling you to sacrifice yourself, essentially. It's telling you to give up everything that's meaningful to you, especially the most fundamental things that are meaningful to you. They're not as important as this. This is your now fundamental, foundational identity. Nothing is more important than this. And that's how you lose yourself. That's how you end up wanting to change everything around you to suit and serve Islam, or AKA the Prophet, and the kind of, the energy of him that lives on, even though he's not around physically anymore. You can still feel his presence through things like this. I think if you're going to be brutally honest with yourself, you would say that this is disturbing. This is not right. If anyone in real life told you to stop loving your parents and children and family and friends, you would think that person is highly abusive and highly manipulative if they're doing that to you. If they're telling you that, you know what, you need to put me at the forefront of everything, you would think this person is some sort of psychopathic narcissist who's trying to control you. Here you have really laid out on the table what is expected of you. This isn't about spiritual growth. This isn't about connecting to those around you. This is about submission and loss of identity, cult tactics to keep you hooked. Because let's face it, when you break a person, and in this case, you're breaking their sense of self, their sense of connection, even if it's just psychological, that person starts to fall apart. And who's going to put you back together again? Islam. You will be reshaped, you will be remolded, put back together, but this time you will be put together in a way that suits Islam, and suddenly you'll want everything around you also to suit this same ideology. And as I said, when you become honest with yourself, when you really think about this, you would say in any other situation, this is not healthy, this is not right, this is not how humans should behave, this is not how humans should be encouraged to act. But here you are, you have your prophet of all time, the best man of all time, telling you to sacrifice yourself for him. And he's not even God. Let's be honest, he's not even God. This is the thing. They talk about shirk, but this here is literally like worshipping him, right? But there you go. There you have it. And I feel like bringing this to people's attention, because these are the questions you need to ask yourself, brutal, honest questions you need to ask yourself when you're dealing with this or when you're studying this. This is the kind of mentality you're dealing with. As I said, this is so similar to cult tactics, if not cult tactics. I think if you were a person 1,400 years ago living in Mecca or Medina, and you was in close proximity to Muhammad, and you would have been, I don't know, joining Islam, especially in its early days, I guess it was just a cult, really. It was just a cult that got really, really successful and popular. But he was implementing all the same tactics that any cult leader would. And no surprise, it usually is broken people, people with a lot of trauma that are attracted to these things because they don't really have a stable sense of self already. So they would just, gravitate towards this, or like disadvantaged people. So now you have people born into this, born into a cult mentality, born into an ideology which tells them to sacrifice themselves from the day they're born. It's being reinforced that even their own family members are not as important as this religion. Imagine what that does to people over generations and, in communities. Just think about it. Just reflect on it. So if you're someone who's reflecting on something like this and you think, you know what, this doesn't sit right with me, it's because it doesn't sit right with most people. This way of talking doesn't sit right. And we know what tactics are being employed here. We know what tactics are being used to get people to force people to give up their sense of self so that they form a new identity. And that new identity is being a Muslim. And that's why when we say to people as well around the world who are so confused as to why is it that, certain people want to spread their religion and just they don't care, like they don't care about anything. They just want to spread the message. They just want to give dawah. Well, it's because of hadiths like this and beliefs like this. They feel like by loving the Prophet more than anyone else, they're showing his love, they're showing their devotion by spreading Islam, by being unapologetic about being a Muslim. Because that love, that force of love that you would have towards children and loved ones and parents, they're cultivating that inside of themselves and then projecting it onto the outside world about spreading, doing anything this Prophet wanted them to do, one of those being spreading his message. And that's what's happening. When I used to hear Muslims talking about this, I used to get, again, it didn't sit right with me. It used to make me feel very uneasy because I couldn't believe I was listening to them saying that, yeah, I love the Prophet more than my parents. I found it astonishing and shocking. Also quite offensive to the people around them. Like, what? I would be like, how can you say you love him more than your own family? Like, that's kind of offensive to your family members, right? But no, because if they were also Muslim and following and practicing, then this was fine with them too. And as I said, it was just uncanny. It was so unnatural. And I couldn't believe people were okay with this, but they genuinely were. They were. It's like the hive mind that they've all tapped into, that they're all feeding off the same energy of each other, that this is no longer about us. We are slaves. We are servants. We have submitted. It's quite scary when you really think about it. It's quite scary how this can happen to humans. But as I always say in my videos, I do believe in certain things just being wrong, inherently bad, inherently good. I do believe in that because we as humans or any animals, we can detect when something is off, when something is wrong. We don't like suffering naturally unless you have some kind of disorder or you've been extremely traumatized and, now your brain is malfunctioning. But we like beauty, we like good, we love love. And when we see something like this, we instinctively know that that doesn't sound right, makes us feel uneasy. And I always say, listen to that intuition. If you are someone in that position and you're hearing verses or hadiths like this and it is making you question, I say, you know what? Listen to that intuition. Think about it, reflect on it. Ask yourself, does this sound healthy? Ask yourself, you know how much you love your family members and your friends. Do you think it's healthy that someone's telling you to put someone else above them? Especially with the character of that person. It's not like we're talking about any random person. We're talking about someone who did a lot of heinous things. So it's something to reflect on. And for those who are not in this mindset, it's an indication of what we're dealing with, of the true nature of this belief system. And I could do a deeper dive into how Islam really does employ a lot of cult tactics to keep people hooked and stuck. But I would want that video to be more structured. This is more one of my videos where if you're thinking about something doesn't sound right, this is one of those things. I'm just coming here to say, yeah, you know what? If you feel like it doesn't sound right, it's because it doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and defend this anymore. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is normal and lovey-dovey, because it's not. Any other belief system that told you to do this, we would say, yeah, this is disturbing, this is not right, this is a red flag. And just because it's a major world religion doesn't mean that it still doesn't contain elements of cult-like control over people's minds. So yeah. So as I said, reflect, think about it. And for those who are already not part of this religion anymore or were never part, this is just something else to highlight the true reality, the true nature of this belief system, and a problematic element. I hope this video was helpful for anyone who watched it, and thank you so much for watching anyway. I plan, for this half of the year now to really start hammering home more points like this and start giving back to the wonderful community and to all those who supported me from the videos that I put out from the first half of the year. It means so much to me. So thank you so much. And yeah, my way to give back is to keep putting videos out like this, keep spreading the message, keep exposing the darkness. And yeah, and as I said, thank you so much for watching, guys. Lovely to see you all again. Wish you all the best.